I learned that some people don't break down, they just break you while pretending to fall apart. I need to start by saying I'm not a vengeful person. I never was. I'm the guy who gives second chances, who believes in therapy and communication, who thinks most problems can be solved if both people just try hard enough. But there's a difference between being understanding and being a fool. And for 3 months I was the biggest fool alive. My wife's name is Lauren. We'd been married for 6 years. Good years, I thought. We had our arguments like any couple, but nothing serious. We'd talk through it, laugh about it later, move on. She worked in marketing for a mid-sized tech firm. I'm a project manager for a construction company. Normal jobs, normal life, normal marriage, or so I thought. It started in February. Lauren came home from work one evening and just sat in the car for 20 minutes. I watched her from the kitchen window, wondering what was wrong. When she finally came inside, her eyes were red. She said she was feeling overwhelmed, work stress, pressure from her boss, the usual corporate nonsense. I held her, told her it would be okay. We ordered takeout and watched something mindless on Netflix. She fell asleep on my shoulder. I thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, Lauren's overwhelm escalated into something that looked a lot like depression. She'd come home exhausted, barely speak, and go straight to bed. She stopped cooking, stopped going to the gym, stopped doing the little things she used to love. I suggested she talk to someone. She agreed. She found a therapist and started going twice a week. I was proud of her for taking that step. Mental health is important. I encouraged her every chance I got. I took over the household chores, did all the grocery shopping, made sure she had space and time to heal. I thought I was being a good husband. What I didn't realize was that I was being played. The therapy sessions were on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 in the evening. Lauren would leave work early, go to her appointment, and come home around 8. She said the sessions were intense, that she needed time afterward to decompress. Sometimes she'd grab dinner alone before coming home. I understood, or at least I thought I did, but then small things started to feel off. One night in March, I came home early from a site inspection. It was barely 5:30. Lauren's car was in the driveway. I walked in and she was in the bedroom on her phone, laughing. Not the exhausted, depressed woman I'd been living with. She was light happy. The second she saw me, her face changed. The phone disappeared. She said she was talking to her sister. I didn't think much of it then, but I started noticing more. She'd get texts late at night and her whole body would tense. She'd take her phone into the bathroom with her. She started password protecting everything, which she'd never done before. And her therapy appointments started running long, really long. She'd leave at 5:30 and not come home until 9 or 9:30. When I asked how therapy could take 4 hours, she'd get defensive. She'd say I didn't understand how draining it was, how she needed to sit in her car and process things, how sometimes she'd just drive around to clear her head. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But my gut was screaming at me, so I did something I'm not proud of. I checked our credit card statements. I told myself I was just being responsible, making sure we weren't overspending during a stressful time. But deep down I knew I was looking for something, and I found it. Hotel charges, multiple hotel charges. The Courtyard on 5th Street, always on Tuesday or Thursday evenings, always around 7 p.m. Charges for rooms, not just food or drinks. Charges that didn't make any sense unless she was staying there, which she clearly wasn't. Because she was coming home, my hands were shaking as I scrolled through the statements. February 19th, February 26th, March 4th, March 12th, March 19th, every single Tuesday and Thursday for the past month and a half, same hotel, same time window. I sat there in my office staring at the screen, feeling my entire world tilt sideways. She wasn't going to therapy. She was going to a hotel. I wanted to confront her immediately. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, to burn everything down, but something stopped me. Maybe it was self-preservation, maybe it was strategy, or maybe I just needed to know the full truth before I made a move, so I kept quiet. I played along. That night when Lauren came home at 9, I asked her how therapy went. She sighed and said it was hard but productive. She was working through some childhood trauma, she said. Her therapist was really helping her unpack things. I nodded. I held her. I told her I was proud of her, and inside I was dying. The next day I took a long lunch and drove to the Courtyard on 5th Street. I didn't go inside. I just sat in my truck across the street and waited. I felt like a creep, like a paranoid husband in a bad movie. But I needed to see it with my own eyes. At 6:45, Lauren's car pulled into the parking lot. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I watched her park near the side entrance. She got out, checked her phone, and adjusted her hair in the reflection of the car window. Then she walked inside. 10 minutes later, a man walked in. Tall, clean-cut, wearing a suit. I didn't recognize him. He looked confident, comfortable, like he'd done this 100 times. I sat there until 8:30. Neither of them came out. I drove home, parked down the street, and waited. Lauren pulled into our driveway at 9:15. She walked in with her purse, her work bag, and a sad little smile that I now knew was complete bullshit. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I called a lawyer, not to file for divorce yet, but to understand my options. He told me to document everything, get proof, protect my assets, don't confront her until I had a strategy, so that's what I did. I printed every hotel receipt from the credit card statements. I took screenshots of her text message timestamps showing the late-night activity. I quietly moved money into a separate account in my name only. I made copies of all our financial records, our marriage certificate, everything, and then I did something that would change everything. I found out where Lauren worked. More specifically, I found out who her boss was. A woman named Angela, mid-50s, professional, no-nonsense type. I looked her up on LinkedIn, then I looked up Lauren's department, and there he was. The man from the hotel, his name was Troy. He was a senior account manager, same department, same floor, they worked together. I felt sick. This wasn't some random affair. This was someone she saw every single day. Someone she probably laughed with in meetings, got coffee with, collaborated with on projects, and then twice a week they'd sneak off to a hotel and betray everything we'd built. I could have confronted her then, but I wanted her to feel what I felt. I wanted her to know what it's like when your world falls apart in front of everyone, so I waited until the following Tuesday. I knew she'd be at the hotel. I sent an email to Angela, Lauren's boss. The subject line was simple, concerning Lauren's recent behavior. In the email I attached the hotel receipts, all of them. I explained that my wife had been claiming to attend therapy appointments twice a week but had actually been meeting a coworker at a hotel during work hours. I included Troy's name. I kept it professional, factual, and devastatingly clear. I hit send at 7 p.m., right in the middle of their little rendezvous. Then I went home and waited. Lauren came home at 9:30, same as always. She looked tired. She said therapy was rough. I nodded. I told her I loved her. She said she loved me too. I didn't sleep again that night. The next morning, Lauren left for work at her usual time. I waited. My phone didn't ring. Hers probably did. At 10:30, I got a text from her. "We need to talk. I'm coming home." I replied, "Okay." She walked in an hour later. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. She'd been crying. "They know," she said. "Know what?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. "About Troy, about the hotel. Angela called me into her office this morning. Someone sent her everything. They're launching an investigation. Troy might get fired. I might get fired. How did they find out?" I looked at her, really looked at her. This woman I'd spent 6 years with. This woman I'd loved, supported, and trusted. "I sent it," I said. Her face went blank. "What?" "I sent Angela the receipts. I found them weeks ago. I know you've been lying about therapy. I know you've been meeting Troy at a hotel twice a week. I know everything." She started crying, not the sad, overwhelmed crying from before. This was panic, pure panic. "It's not what you think," she stammered. "I was confused. I was struggling. I didn't know how to talk to you. So you faked a mental breakdown," I said. "You let me take care of you, support you, do everything for you while you were sleeping with someone else." "I wasn't sleeping with him," she said, but even she didn't sound convinced. "Don't lie to me anymore, Lauren. Please, just don't." She collapsed onto the couch sobbing. She begged me to help her save her job. She said she'd end things with Troy. She said she'd go to real therapy. She said she'd do anything. I told her I wanted a divorce. She's staying with her parents now. The company decided not to fire her, but Troy was let go for violating the ethics policy. Apparently he was married too. His wife found out the same day Lauren's boss did. I have no idea how that's going for him, and honestly I don't care. I filed for divorce 3 weeks ago. Lauren's still trying to convince me to reconsider, but I'm done. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just tired of the lies, tired of wondering if anything we had was real. Started seeing a therapist, a real one. It helps. People keep asking me if I regret sending that email to her boss, if I think I went too far, and honestly I don't. She didn't just cheat on me. She manipulated me. She weaponized mental health to cover her tracks. She made me feel guilty for even questioning her, so no, I don't regret it. Some people don't break down. They just break you while pretending to fall apart, and I refuse to be broken anymore.